everybody? We're live once again. Don't Know Diaries, back again for another episode. Again, you could always follow the Instagram at Don't Know Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all that. You know, you already know. Same old, same old. But I'm really excited to talk about this topic that I'm gonna be talking about today. It's quite a mindfuck, honestly. Let's just get right into it. If you guys don't know already, which you should if you're living in the Utah area, at least, even near West Valley, is that lately there's been a story that came up. It's huge all over about this little place called Tacos Mi Caramelito, I think. If not, it's Mi Caramelo, something like that. It has to do with candy, I guess, whatever. But turns out the owners are murderers. And honestly, if you followed the whole story on like how they started and all that, it might not come as to a surprise. Like everything that I'm talking about today is probably probably speculation, a little bit of conspiracy in there, but I'm gonna try to talk about what I know. I'm sure most of it is inaccurate, but all I can tell is like my story and how I'm perceiving things. But let's get right into it. So if you guys don't know, this specific taco place, it started as like a little just like a little food place in somebody's house, just for so their whole thing was how they were supposed to be helping out their daughter, which if you guys don't know, she has paralysis. I guess it had to do with something about how she accidentally drowned like in a tub. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but what I do remember is that my family and I, we would go there a lot. We would go to this house to eat their food, which was delicious. Everybody loved it because it was so delicious. But so they started as this little house get together, you know, this family. I think it was a mom, a dad, which I'm sure that mom that I'm talking about is the one that's in custody right now because of the murder accusation. But anyways, so it was a mom and then the kids. The kids were the ones that were working there, at least, was like an older son and a younger son. I'm sure you guys can correct me, but anyways, they were doing fine. Everybody was trying to support their cause, you know, for trying to help out this little girl who needed help because due to her paralysis, and then the parents couldn't make the payments or the hospital bills were too expensive. But I guess what the father was trying to do was raise enough money to move to, I believe it was Texas, for something called Teletón at the time. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but basically they just I think it's like an event that they hold, that they broadcast on TV, where they'll bring in a lot of kids with disabilities or that just need help in general, and they'll just try to raise some money all throughout the US when they're broadcasting it. But that was the goal, right? That was the goal, to take the little girl who needed help over there. That's what the money was supposed to be for. And as things got better and that taco place started to get better, the money started coming in, and then they raised enough money so that they can go and take her to the TV event. But I'm guessing the family saw that they could make more profits and more money, so they just decided to keep this little taco place going. And they moved around from like house to house. I don't know if they would own the other houses they moved to, or it was just like somebody they knew that was letting them borrow the house or whatever. They just honestly just needed a big backyard or a big front yard or a big lawn to make their tacos, set up some chairs, set up some tables. And basically just invite people over and have them eat their food, which again everybody loved because it was so delicious. But honestly, from what I remember, I don't know the exact like drama that was going on inside their family and whatnot, but what I do remember is like the older son and the dad would like kind of have arguments a lot. I don't know about what exactly, but they weren't like kidding around arguments. They were more of like disputes about something that was upsetting to one or the other. But you know, at the time we didn't think much of it. So then the time went by and things got better for them, and once they started to make a little bit more money, the only you didn't hear about the little girl as much anymore. You just knew that they were doing good, right? So as that went on, the people who ran that taco place decided and took it upon themselves to say, hey, let's start a business and open up this place because people seem to be enjoying our food and whatnot. But they opened up this place, and like I said, me and my family have gone a lot of times, and we really enjoyed their food. Then for some reason they just lost their like clientele. I'm guessing it's because it wasn't that homey, like that homey feel, and I think they stopped like doing a lot of because at the time they would post a lot about where they would be next, or where these where they were going to be offering their food next. But once they opened up their place, I think they figured like, well, people are just going to come because it's like an establishment now. So they stopped, and they lost a lot of people. And at first, when they first opened, it was crowded. I remember my family and I, we went to like one of the first days that when it first opened, and honestly, it was huge. So like big crowds. There was not too good of organization, but I mean, what can you expect from a new business, right? But anyways, the food was still pretty good at the time. It was decent. And as time went on, you started hearing like these little rumors about how there was bugs in the food, and eventually it became true that there was bugs in the food. So I don't know if it got shut down. I believe it did, but it got shut down for a bit. And honestly, just like the internet aspect of it, or like their, what's the word for it, like their clientele or their fan base or their customers really just decided to stop going simply for that. Because I think once they opened up this new establishment, their food quality went down, mostly because it's probably like a little faster pace, and since it is a business, people actually expect like it to be some standard, whether it's serving or the quality of the food. But it just started to go down from there. So honestly, it took me a while to actually go again since that started. But I'm trying to think of this whole like timeline. So as that went on, like the whole bugs and stuff, there was like rumors about how it was just bad, you know, like going there was just awful. It was disgusting. It was whatever you want to call it. It was gross. It was banned. It was nasty. You weren't allowed to go there. But I went, honestly. I don't know. I thought their food was still pretty good. But just as of recently, a story came out where that new owner, which is the mother that I talked about, and her son, I think both of her sons, so the mom and two of her sons, are accused of kidnapping and murdering this young woman. And honestly, it just kind of sucks, you know, for the family and everything, because I guess the family was involved in in drugs, the owners of the restaurant. I don't know, not a lot of details have came out in the story, but I guess they were involved in drugs somehow, and this person, the person that they murdered, this woman, she, quote unquote, if you look at the article, they say that she knew too much, you know, that's why they murder her, because she knew too much. Now you may be asking, like, knew too much of what? Well, a couple months ago of that whole family, or quite a few months back, their younger son went missing, and supposedly, about what I've been reading, and you know, all those conspiracy theorists out there, they've been saying that this woman that was murdered, she knew of the whereabouts and what happened specifically to their youngest son. But anyways, this youngest son goes missing, and he was missing, I want to say, for like 6 months, maybe less. But so he goes missing, comes back, and then later on goes missing again. So that was just kind of off. But now this woman, the woman that was murdered, they not only murdered her, they also kidnapped her, and they also have some video. Sorry about that, technical difficulties. The video just kind of cut out. But anyways, as I was saying, they have this video of her. She's walking down the street, and then some random, or this car's just kind of stopped there, and then you see how she's walking down the street, and then they grab her, and then they take her away to who knows where. But the people involved were, that, as I was saying, the mother and the two sons. Now the woman, in the things that I've been reading, she's also been accused of knowing, so the dad, sorry, let me back up a little bit. So the dad, now what I've been reading is he's committed suicide, and supposedly this young woman that was murdered, she knows too much, right? So that's what they said in the article. She knows too much, and one of those things being that she knows that it wasn't a suicide. It could have also been a murder. Now, these people don't seem to be very kind, you know, so, and they seem to be very malicious. So is there bad intent there? Did the dad actually kill himself? And as far as the little girl goes, to where all of this started, to where all this was being funded, and all this, mainly like the reason it was for, as far as she goes, I have not heard or don't know much about where she is. And honestly, I hope she's in a good place wherever she is. I hope she's good. And honestly, I don't even want to know where she is. The better, like, the more far off she's kept from this whole story is probably best. But so as this story goes, so after they kidnapped her, they took her to this place. I think they took her back to her house, I'm not sure. But who shot the gun? Because they shot her in the back of the head, I believe. Now, who shot the gun? I don't think it has been said yet. It could have been the mom or one of the kids. But about this, I'm not sure. So now in the article, it is said that after they killed the little girl, they went back to the restaurant, which is the restaurant they opened up, and then I'm sure they discussed it, or I'm sure, I don't know what happened, honestly. But the mother went back to where they had this girl and decided to somehow clean up, you know, hide the evidence or whatever. And now a lot of people have been saying that somehow or some way these people have been putting pieces of human meat in that food that people have been eating. Now, is this crazy? Is this far off? I mean, there has been a couple stories of this happening. Not here. I don't know about Utah actually. But there has been cases. If you look it up, I'm sure there's so many of them that restaurant owners are just putting human meat. And so now everybody's scared, right? Everybody's scared that we've all ate human meat, because honestly everybody really in like the Hispanic community knows these people. All these people are kind of like a vision or some kind of like hope that there is some way to like not only get help from the community but actually like make a living doing something you want to do. And I don't know, it's so weird to think that you could have ate somebody, you know. Supposedly, from what I've been reading, and I think I saw this post on like some private investigator, the girl that was murdered, she's actually somewhere dug up in the desert somewhere. I'm not sure how accurate that is, and still hasn't came out yet from as to like further details on where the body is or what they did with the body. And I mean, I'm sure they don't want to say, but the important thing is that they're in jail and they got caught. And it just kind of sucks to know that this, like I said, this hope or this kind of inspiration for a lot of people kind of just got brought down, all because of malicious intent and some kind of corruption, you know. And it's crazy how far things can go in such a little bit of time. Like, it just seems so quick from when they started to open that like taco place stand at their house and then building on it to get this business, and then now it just all comes crumbling down, you know. And I'm sure it's not easy for the family and for either families, honestly. But I mean, the fact of the matter is you murdered her and you know where she is. Now, this isn't, I guess what you could take away from like this story is just be careful who you're going to be hanging around with, right? Because these people, honestly, they seem like very nice and generous. At least when you meet them, they don't seem that bad. They seem like a good role models onto how to make your dream come true, at least for like the immigration community and the Hispanic community mostly. Now, with that being said, I really hope that they find this girl's body. And from what they said on the news is that the girl that was murdered, her mother, I believe, lives in Mexico, and she's trying to get a visa to come down here to hopefully look for the body. And you know, it's just so crazy how like this happens in your backyard, right? And you would never know. Like, it's kind of mind-boggling to think that like these people that you've encountered and these people that you've been surrounded around and you've been around and you got to know and you got to eat their food mostly is not who you thought they'd be. And I just wonder, like, at what point did this go from helping a poor innocent girl to just being for malicious intent, you know, for their own win and for their own. I feel like a lot of people fall into that mentality once they get into like this whole drug trade and all this, especially when you're an immigrant right? And maybe that's what they were doing before. Maybe they were just selling some drugs here and there to help out the little girl, you know. And I mean, I get it. As a father, I would want to do anything that I could possibly do to help my son, especially if he needs something from me. But at the same time, I don't understand why they didn't realize like when enough is enough, and why they had to do all this like behind the scenes shit and all this like creepy, weird, like hiding in the dark kind of shit. Because like honestly, the only people that are gonna get affected by it is the family of the girl who was murdered and the little girl that's waiting for her parents to come home. And it just sucks. So I guess what you could get from that story is just stop eating there, honestly. I don't know. I think from here on out, either that place is gonna get, which I hope nobody goes to anymore, because you know they might be human serving meat. They might be serving human meat, or it could get pretty big, you know, kind of like Ted Bundy's house or Ted Bundy's cave, you know. Nobody looks at his actions. They just know that some famous serial killer was there, so they decide to go there more. And it's kind of like an attraction it becomes to people. So who knows what will happen of this restaurant. I really hope nobody goes there anymore, you know. I feel like we've all had enough human meat for our lifetime, if it turns out to be true. Oh man, that story is just crazy. Because like I said, I feel like these people were a huge inspiration to the Hispanic community. And just to see it all kind of just fade away and crumble to just some poor decisions of like these people's lives just kind of sucks. Because at least in my family, I like, it wasn't a daily thing, right? But you would talk about it. You would talk like just about like how cool it is to have that idea of how they started basically from nothing, just producing what they could to owning some restaurant. And I feel like nowadays so many Hispanic people and Latino people have such good cooking that that's kind of their dream, to open up a restaurant. I know I always make that joke to my parents that they should open up a restaurant, because honestly, Hispanic food is delicious. But now that human meat is being served in it, I don't know. And it just kind of makes me wonder, like, if this is kind of putting the Hispanic community in like a bad light in some way. But I think that the community is probably gonna, I think we're really gonna help out on getting to the bottom of whatever went on. And honestly, there's just like so much hate right now going around, and so much, I don't know what's a good word for it, but just like, I don't know if you guys seen on the news that a lot of people are starting to attack the Asian community as well. And that shit is just so like stupid to me, and so idiotic to think that just because this pandemic started, you know, it's important to me, and I'm gonna take it upon myself to go beat up on the Asian community, go beat up that Asian kid I just saw. Like, what's it? I don't understand what that's gonna change. I don't understand, really. Like what do they expect? That, oh, I'm just gonna go kill this Asian person and there, the pandemic's over? Like it or not, the pandemic's here. And whether I don't want to say we, but whether people go out and hurt as many Asians as they're doing right now, it's not going to change anything. The only thing that it's going to do is make that community look in a bad light. Not the Asian community, but the person or the people that are beating on these Asians. It just makes you look dumb. Like, on the news, there was the spas that got shot up. Like, for what? Like, you know, especially targeting some Asian ladies. Like, if anything, you should probably go target the scientists who made the fucking coronavirus. I don't know. It's so weird. Like, if anything, you should probably go find and kill that bat who started all this, you know? It's just so stupid, like, how people are thinking right now. Like, it's so crazy how this pandemic, in some ways, made us better and more connected, and in some ways just completely broke us, you know? And also, that shooting that went on in Colorado, that supermarket shooting, I just don't understand what goes through these guys' heads. And especially seeing the police, I think it was a police chief, I think I saw in a video. It was either the police chief or like the governor or something of Colorado. They said, oh, he was just kind of having a bad day. Like, if they were any other race, a bad day, like, doesn't cut it, you know? They would try to find anything to, like, put so much blame on you. And I'm not saying that anybody else should go do a shooting, you know? But it just kind of sucks how whenever a minority does a crime, it's completely look different if they're white, you know? And I'm sorry, but it's true, because there's so many crimes that happen that are given less of a sentence, or a less, quote unquote, how would you say, not harmful, but I guess aggressive, I don't know, like, they're given, either they charge them less or they give them less consequences, or less severe consequences. And it just sucks how, for somebody to be white and go shoot up a marketplace, and you just classify it as, oh, they just had a bad day. And literally there's so many blacks that have been killed just standing outside, just for being their color, you know? And I can't speak on like the black community or the Asian community, but I can speak as a minority, and I can speak as somebody who's in the immigration community as well. It's just so, like, painful to see how little they care about, or it's not really the word I would put it, but how it kind of seems that when some kind of minority or somebody of color commits a crime, they just want to push him off to the end of the earth, you know? They want to just hide whatever he did, lock him in a cell, throw him in the hole, never see him again, boom, done. Now, when, on the other hand, when some white commits a crime, they are looked at as troubled, you know? They're looked at as, oh, we could have done so much to help them. Oh, we could have done this, we could have done that. Like, literally, we're all just people, you know? And just because we're people doesn't mean that the crime is less severe or anything like that. But if you're going to take the initiative to want to help somebody who made a shooting, who did a shooting, or who robbed a store, or who, I don't know, whatever it could be, whatever kind of crime, if you're going to take the initiative to help them and try to rehabilitate them, it shouldn't be based on their color, you know? And maybe there is like a proper way to judge things. Maybe there is a proper way to, you know, evaluate on what's gonna happen with this person or what's gonna happen with the others. But how we're doing it now, I believe there's people who really want to do some good right now. There's people who really want to make some changes. But it's just those couple people who commit the shootings and those couple people who go out and beat people just because they started the pandemic, you know. What's funny is that most of these Asians right now that are getting beat have nothing to do with, like, wherever they're from. You know, most of them are citizens from here. And it's just so stupid. Especially when you see, like, videos of blacks beating up on Asians. And especially because this whole Black Lives Matter movement happened, right? Like, you're basically doing the same thing that you've been fighting for to another minority. And like I said, it's not everybody. I'm not judging everybody, but like I said, it's just those few people that fuck it up for everybody else. And like I said, I do believe that there's some good light out there. I do believe that all in all, some huge changes are going to be happening. And I think it's for the good, because honestly, for the most part, the people you meet and the people you see around you, they're just people trying to live, you know? They're just people that want the best for themselves and just want to be a better person and are just trying, you know? Just trying to be what they want to be and hopefully make something of where they are in their life. And as far as that taco place goes, I really hope they find that girl. You know, it's such a crazy case though, because like I said, in this community, it doesn't seem like something like that would happen, especially when you would have it made, or at least what it seemed like to be made. But it'll be crazy to see all the details and the story that'll come out of it. With that being said, I think that's it for what I wanted to say today. I just wanted to keep you guys informed on that story and just see the crazy shit that's happening. But again, I see that hashtag everywhere, hashtag Stop Asian Hate, and that's true. That's true. At least right now, you know, the BLM, they already had their movement. I think right now it's time to focus a little bit more on that right now, because honestly they are getting a lot of hate, and my support goes all out to that community. And like I said, I can't speak on their part because I'm not Asian, clearly, but I can speak from a minority and an immigrant point of view. And like I said, it's just some few people fucking it up. But I do believe there's some light at the end of this tunnel, and we'll just see where life takes us. So again, this was a pretty short one. They will be coming. I do hope to be doing more episodes. I just want to do this little quick one to keep an update on the community about what's happening, about how we're eating human meat tacos. But again, you all know where to watch these: Facebook, Castbox, Spotify, YouTube, basically everywhere. Again, follow the Instagram, that's @Don'tKnowPodcast, and follow the page on Facebook. Bye everybody.